Chapter 1. Weight of the Past. 7 years. That's how long it had been since June left. Since she packed up nothing but her pride and scars, walked out of the front door, and never looked back. People told her healing was a process, that time smoothed over wounds. But time had only numbed the pain, it hadn't erased it. She had buried herself in work, routines, and obligations, convincing herself that love was a luxury she no longer had use for. Romance was for the naive, for those who hadn't learned how cruel love could be when placed in the wrong hands. But standing outside the gym on a cool evening, June realized she wasn't here to fight love. She was here to fight herself. To regain control, to redefine her body, her mind, her life. She pushed open the door. The scent of sweat and determination hit her. Machines whirred, weights clanged against the rubber flooring, and conversations hummed beneath the music pumping through the speakers. She swallowed hard. She didn't belong here. Not yet. But quitting had never been in her vocabulary. Taking a deep breath, she walked toward the weights section, and that's when she noticed him. Chapter 2. The Man by the Weights. June's eyes lingered for a moment, just long enough to notice the ease in which he lifted the weights, the controlled strength in his movements. He wasn't just fit, he was disciplined. There was something about the way he carried himself, self-assured but not arrogant, present but not intimidating. She had trained herself to ignore men, especially the ones who seemed too put together. In her experience, charming and confident often masked something darker beneath. But he didn't look at anyone with expectation. No searching glances, no performance for an audience. He was simply in his own world, focused. That was fine. June was here for herself, not for him. She made her way to an empty bench, set the dumbbells beside her, and inhaled deeply. The first rep burned more than expected, the weight pressing into her palms. 7 years of neglect had robbed her body of its endurance, and every motion reminded her of what she had lost. She adjusted her grip, exhaling as she pushed upward. Strength wasn't built in a day. This was the beginning. Then, out of the corner of her eye, movement. He was standing near her now, adjusting his gloves, casually observing but not intruding. Chapter 3. The Weight of Trust. June returned to the gym the next day, expecting nothing but aching muscles and a quiet routine. But Adrian was there. Same steady gaze, same effortless ease with the weights. She told herself she wasn't looking for him. Yet, somehow, their paths crossed again. "You're back," Adrian said, offering a small nod as he adjusted his wrist wraps. "I don't quit," she replied simply, setting her water bottle down beside the treadmill. He smiled. "Good. Quitting never leads anywhere worth going." For a moment, June didn't respond. People always said things like that, as if perseverance alone could heal all wounds. But survival wasn't just about refusing to quit, it was about knowing when to walk away. And she had done that once before, when staying meant losing herself. Still, something in Adrian's tone made her believe he understood more than he let on. They trained near each other, occasionally exchanging comments, brief, unassuming. She wasn't looking for connection, yet there was something undeniably easy about talking to him. Days passed, and conversations grew longer. "You ever train with someone before?" Adrian asked one evening, wiping sweat from his brow. "Not really," she admitted. "You should. You learn faster, push harder." She considered his words, hesitating before finally asking, "Are you offering?" Adrian shrugged, casual but deliberate. "Only if you want." June paused, measuring the weight of the offer. Accepting meant trust. It meant allowing someone into her world, a world she had carefully rebuilt alone. But maybe, just maybe, she was ready to let someone in. For the first time in years, she took a leap. "Allrecht, Adrian. Let's see if you can keep up." And just like that, something shifted. Not just in her training, but in her heart. "You've got good form," he said finally, nodding toward her weights. His voice was deep, steady. June set the dumbbells down and wiped her palms against her leggings. "Thanks." "You been lifting long?" he asked. "First day back in years," she admitted. He gave an understanding nod, no judgment in his expression. "It gets easier. You just have to keep showing up." June knew that already. Showing up was never the issue, it was what came after that was difficult. She expected him to walk away, but instead, he extended a hand.
I'm Adrian, by the way.
She hesitated, then took it. His grip was firm but not overpowering. June. Adrian studied her briefly, a flicker of recognition in his gaze. Good name. Strong. June almost laughed at that. Strong. People used to say that about her all the time. After the divorce, after the healing, after the endless cycle of proving she was fine. It was easy to wear strength like armor, but harder to believe in it. Still, there was something different about the way Adrian said it, like he actually meant it. June rolled her shoulders, picked up the weights again, and gave a small nod. She wasn't here for distractions.
Not for casual conversations, not for fleeting interest.
But as she lifted, she felt something shift, just the smallest break in the walls she had built. Maybe, just maybe, today wasn't just about weightlifting. Chapter 4, Strength Beyond Muscles. June adjusted the weights, rolling her shoulders as Adrian stood beside her, watching. Not with the intensity of a trainer expecting perfection, but with the quiet understanding of someone who saw beyond the movements. Their workouts had become more than just training sessions. They were something unspoken, something comfortable. A rhythm neither of them questioned. You're stronger than you think, Adrian said after a particularly grueling set of deadlifts. June exhaled sharply, wiping sweat from her brow. Physically, maybe. Not just physically, Adrian countered. I see it in how you show up. Even when you don't want to. June let out a small breath of amusement, shaking her head as she reached for her water bottle. That's just routine. Commitment. Or survival, Adrian said casually, but his words hit somewhere deep. June froze for a second, just long enough for the truth to settle in her chest. He wasn't wrong. Showing up had always been about survival. Through the marriage, through the escape, through the years of rebuilding herself brick by brick. She had become strong because she had to be, because there was no other choice. But was that strength still serving her? Or was it simply another layer of armor, one that kept people like Adrian on the outside? She glanced at him, studying his features in the fluorescent glow of the gym's lighting. He was focused on adjusting his wrist wraps, seemingly unaware of the storm his words had stirred within her. You speak like someone who knows survival, she said finally, testing the waters. Adrian didn't hesitate.
Donnerstag.
His answer was simple, matter-of-fact, but the weight of it settled between them. June recognized that tone, the one that came from experience, from pain unspoken. Maybe that was why he understood her without prying, without questioning. Want to add another set? He asked, steering the conversation back to the task at hand. June nodded, grateful for the shift. She gripped the barbell, exhaling as she pulled the weight up once more. This time, it wasn't just about physical strength. It was about facing the weight inside her, too. As she lifted, Adrian stood nearby, ready to spot her if needed.
Presence, stidi and unshakable.
And maybe, just maybe, for the first time in 7 years, she wasn't just surviving. She was living. Chapter 5, The Edge of Distance, with a twist. June is determined to keep Adrian in the background, convinced that his quiet support is just part of their routine. But then, something shifts. One evening, after leaving the gym, she receives a message. The number is unfamiliar, but the words are unmistakable. Someone from her past knows where she is. It's cryptic, brief, but enough to send ice through her veins. 7 years of distance, of rebuilding, and yet the past refuses to stay buried. Her instinct is immediate, handle it alone.
Survival mode.
She dismisses the fear, pushes it down, just as she's done with everything else.
But Adrian, Eva perceptive, sense something off.
He doesn't ask, doesn't push, but he lingers, offering presence instead of pressure. June tells herself it's coincidence that their paths cross later that night, when she's outside her apartment, scanning the street for something. Someone she doesn't want to see.
Adrian is here, leaving the cafe across the street.
He sees the tension in her stance, the way her fingers tighten around her phone. And then, the unexpected happens.
A shadow moves in the distance. Familiar.
Unwelcome. Her past has arrived. June makes a split-second decision, one she doesn't fully understand herself. Instead of facing it alone, she turns, walks straight toward Adrian. As if he's her shield. As if she trusts him.
Skjedusend sei avhørt.
But she's standing next to him now, her pulse hammering, her breath tight. Adrian notices. Of course he does. But he doesn't pry. He simply adjusts his stance slightly, placing himself between her and whatever she's watching. And for the first time, June wonders, is keeping him at arm's length still protecting her, or is it only keeping her from safety?
Chapter 6. Shadows closing in.
June thought she had outrun her past. 7 years of silence, of carefully crafted distance. But the message on her phone wasn't a warning, it was a promise. Someone is coming for her. She barely sleeps that night, every sound outside her apartment magnified, every footstep in the hallway sending her pulse racing. Was it him? Was it the person she had escaped, the one who had once dictated every aspect of her life? The one who swore she'd never truly be free? Adrian notices. Of course he does. June is more rigid than usual, her movements sharp, too controlled. She refuses to talk about it, but she doesn't have to, because the past stops waiting. It acts. One night, just as she's leaving the gym, she sees it, a familiar car, parked across the street. The same make, the same model. For a second, she convinces herself it's a coincidence, until the headlights flash twice. A signal. Her breath catches. She isn't imagining it. She turns, her first instinct to run, but Adrian steps beside her, casual, steady, like he's meant to be there. Like a shield. And that's when it happens. A text. This time, no subtlety. Thought you could hide forever? Her blood turns cold. She grips her phone tight, her breath short. And then, without thinking, she looks at Adrian. For the first time, she doesn't know what to do. Adrian studies her face, sees everything she isn't saying. And instead of demanding answers, instead of pushing, he simply nods. Like he understands. Like he knows running won't be enough this time. Let's go, he says. Not a question. Not a demand. Just a quiet promise that she doesn't have to face this alone. June hesitates. 7 years of survival, of relying only on herself. But now, the past has found her. And maybe, just maybe, she can't outrun it alone anymore. Chapter 7. No more safe spaces. June tries to regain control. She changes her routine, takes different routes home, avoids places she frequents. She tells herself it's paranoia, that she's imagining things. But the signs are everywhere. The texts continue, now more frequent. More calculated. 7 years is a long time to run. How many exits does your gym have?
See you soon.
At first, she blocks the number, deletes the messages. But that doesn't stop them, because they start arriving in different ways. A slip of paper tucked under her windshield wiper. A package delivered to her apartment. Inside, nothing but an old photograph. Her. From before. A reminder. A warning. She refuses to confide in Adrian, but he knows something is off. He sees it in the way she scans the room before setting foot inside. In the sharpness of her movements, like she's always ready to bolt. He doesn't say anything. Doesn't press. But he doesn't leave either. Then, the moment happens.
The escalation. The breaking point.
Late one night, she steps outside her apartment and her breath catches. Across the street, someone is watching her.
A figure, barely visible under the dim glow of the street lamp.
They don't move.
Don't call out.
They just stand there. Waiting.
June's instant scream.
Run. Get inside.
Lock the door.
But something worse happens. Her phone vibrates in her hand. A new text.
You see me now, don't you?
Her fingers tighten. Every muscle in her body is poised for action. She won't be trapped. Won't let fear consume her again. But she's out of options.
And 10, Adrian's voice.
Calm. Measured. Right behind her.
You ready to talk about it now? June swallows hard.
The figure still hasn't moved. The game has shifted.
The past isn't wetting anymore.
It's coming.
No more safe Spaßes. Chapter 8. Crossing the Line, Intensified Version.
It starts like a dare. Like something June convinces herself is just a way to shut down the tension, to push past the weight of everything unspoken. But the moment her lips meet his, nothing feels like a mistake anymore. Adrian responds instantly, not hesitant, not cautious. He pulls her in, deepens the kiss, and suddenly it's more than tension, more than impulse.
It's heat, fire, reckless abandon.
His hands find her waist, gripping just firmly enough to keep her grounded, though nothing about this feels steady. Her fingers curl into the fabric of his shirt, gripping like she needs something to hold on to, like she's afraid of letting go, and maybe that's the truth.
The kiss isn't soft.
Isn't careful. It's months, years, of restraint breaking all at once.
A clash of everything she's held back. A collision of want and fear and frustration all tangled together. Adrian shifts slightly, deepening the angle, pulling her closer.
His body heat presses against her, overwhelming in the best way, making it impossible to think, impossible to do anything except feel. June lets herself drown in it, just for this moment, just until she remembers why she swore she wouldn't do this. Because she's still running. Because her past is still coming. And if she lets herself have this, if she lets herself want this, what happens when it's ripped away?
Chapter 9. A line crossed, a trot denit.
June should have pulled away sooner. She should have caught herself before the kiss became too much, before her body betrayed her and leaned in just a second longer than necessary. But she didn't. And now, standing in Adrian's apartment, the air thick, her pulse uneven, she can still feel him. His touch lingers, his grip at her waist, the heat of his hands, the way he pulled her closer without hesitation. What scares her most isn't the kiss itself. It's how much she wanted it. It's the way her body responded before her mind could stop her. Like she wasn't just allowing it, but craving it. Adrian watches her, his expression unreadable. But his breathing is off, just slightly, just enough to tell her he's affected too. This, whatever this is, wasn't supposed to happen. So she does the only thing she knows how to do.
She steps back.
Creates distance. This was a mistake, she mutters, voice too sharp, too certain. Adrian exhales slowly, like he expected her to say that, but not because he believes it. I don't think it was, he says, level, controlled, like he's challenging her without actually calling her out. Her fingers twitch. She has to leave. She has to get out before she makes another mistake. But then, her phone vibrates.
Reality collides back into her.
Because this moment, this kiss, this dangerous pull toward Adrian, it doesn't matter. Not when her past is hunting her down. She glances at the screen.
Another text. Another reminder. I saw you nicht.
You're just as easy to find as before. Cold.
Unrelenting.
Her worst fear manifesting right in front of her. Adrian notices the shift in her expression immediately, but June doesn't give him time to ask. She shoves her phone into her pocket, forces her emotions down, and moves toward the door. I have to go, she says.
Adrian does and stop here.
Doesn't argue. But as she pulls open the door, his voice catches her. You can run from me if you want. His voice is low, measured, dangerous in a way that suggests he knows exactly what she's doing. But I don't think running will help you anymore.
June freezes.
Because he's right. And that terrifies her more than anything else.
Chapter 10. No more running.
June doesn't sleep that night. She's made a mistake, not just by letting the past catch up to her, but by letting Adrian get close. The kiss was one thing.
The feeling it left behind?
That's the real problem. She's about to leave her apartment the next morning when she sees it. A note. Tucked between her door and the frame. We need to talk. Alone. You know where to find me.
No Name. No Signature.
But she knows exactly who it's from. And that's the moment Adrian becomes involved. Because just as she steps outside, her heartbeat pounding in her throat, she sees him waiting near the street. Not intentional. He's just there, like always, like he just happens to be a steady force in her orbit. But when he sees her expression, he knows something is wrong. June. His voice is sharp, controlled, but there's a flicker of something beneath: concern, readiness, maybe even protectiveness. She's about to brush past him, to pretend everything is fine. But she can't. Because across the street, standing near the corner, is the man from her past. And this time, he isn't hiding. He's watching, waiting. June goes rigid. Every survival instinct screams at her. Run. Hide. Handle this alone. But Adrian notices immediately. He follows her gaze, locks onto the man, and without hesitation, steps closer to June. Who is he? Adrian asks, low, measured, dangerous. June swallows. She should lie. She should push Adrian away. But then, the man smirks. And something about that smirk, about the arrogance, about the fact that he isn't afraid, makes June do something reckless. She grabs Adrian's wrist. Not to pull away, not to run, but to anchor herself. And just like that, Adrian is involved. Because this isn't just her fight anymore. Chapter 11, The Breaking Point. June sees it before she even processes what's happening. The man, her past, her nightmare, the shadow she thought she left behind, moves. It's subtle at first. A step forward. A tilt of his head. The barest hint of a smirk that says he's in control. That he knows she won't stop him. And then, he reaches for her. Fingers brushing against her wrist, too casual, too confident, like he's done this before. Like he thinks he still has that power over her. June's breath catches, but before she can react, before she can decide what to do, Adrian moves first. Fast. Decisive. Unforgiving. His hand grabs the man's wrist, yanks it back with just enough force to send a message. Don't, Adrian says, voice low, lethal, vibrating with restrained fury. The tension explodes instantly. The man shifts, sizing Adrian up, irritation flashing across his face. June should intervene. Should stop this before it spirals. But she's frozen, not with fear, but with realization. Adrian isn't just protecting her. He's claiming the fight as his own. Her past isn't just hers anymore. The man exhales sharply, like this is a nuisance, like he isn't worried which